Well, but Dr. Fauci said this is maybe second wave will be happened. Maybe in New York City too.
That's right, and that's one of the problems about opening up too soon. If then you get more diseases happening, this is like overlap, because people get infected and for several weeks or days they have no symptoms. So they think they're free of it, but at the same time they're passing it on to other people. So a second wave becomes very, very possible, very likely even.
If second wave happens, it's gonna be a fall maybe. That case, a lot of New Yorker, almost all New Yorker must stay home almost 1 year.
I'm afraid to say it, but I think you're correct. I think that's what I think as well.
Yeah, big frustration in public, right?
That's right.
And are there any kind of so-called temptation from the other side, like, hey, let's open the economy, let's kick governor out from the office? Are there any such kind of movement will be happened?
In New York, not yet. It's happened in other states, mostly with people who are people who think that the whole coronavirus thing is a hoax. That it's fake news or something, that it's not really happening, and so they feel is an economic pinch. They're hurting economically, but of course they're not alone. Everybody's hurting economically, so. In New York, that hasn't happened yet because there's more people here who believe it's real and not a hoax.
So, of course, it's a real war zone here.
That's right. That's right.
So, John-san, so what is your life like? I mean, you are not frustrated, packed inside a room and a long time. Of course, I know you can enjoy reading books, but on the other hand, you want to go out and you want to try a theater.
Yeah, because look at this. I'm happy to see you and talk with you because I've known you for many years, but I'm only by Zoom, right? So face to face, we can't really be face to face in person, and that's something that my wife and I both miss a great deal because we're here in New York City. We've been here for many years. We have many friends, and we can't really see them, and so that's something that we really miss a lot.
Yeah, give me. Or give the people the suggestion that's how maintain the mental health. This is another big issue.
Well, I think, this is a lot of the radio stations have been talking about this. This is a great question. And I think to do the things that you like, I think one of the things you have to do is keep a clear head, right? A clear mind. And one way to do that is to work out. Even if you can't go outside, you can work out at home. You can do things, you can run in place. You can lift light weights. You can take a ball and squeeze it. You can do things like that. And one of the radio stations here, the National Public Radio, has a 1 minute every day at 1 o'clock. They have a 1 minute meditation.
Really?
Meditation. So a
PBS,
woman.
You mean?
PBS, yeah. Well, NPR, National Public Radio, and so she rings a little bell, ding, like this, and so she said. And then in a very calm, quiet voice, she says, sit up straight with your back straight and put one hand on top of the other hand and then keep calm and take a deep breath. Now let it out, that kind of thing. So, and it's just 1 minute, but it's very helpful for some people. They may not know how to meditate. They may not know that can help them relax,
It is really interesting because that public radio is really more like a, how can I say, hard talk or like a serious talk of politics and the philosophy of politics. But that's kind of things, I never seen that.
And they have a lot of talk call-in programs about what to cook, what recipes to cook, or how can we what books shall I read, and so on. Now, I have so many books, as you can see from my up there, that I have so many books, and I never have a problem with what to read. so I think reading, and I think not only reading, but when you read, if you read something that's conceptual, or even a novel that's built on some kind of important situation or idea, it's nice after you read to take some notes about what you think you've read. And then if you have somebody you can talk to on Zoom, or your spouse, or somebody who's at home with you, to chat with them and say, well, I've been reading this interesting book, and so on. For example, I'll give you a personal example. Right now, I'm working on a play, En no Gyoja by Tsubochi Shoyo. I'm translating it into English. But one scene in there is really interesting, where the young disciple of En no Gyoja is talking to him and says, "Please, master, let me go to the capital, because there's a disease there that's the people are facing and the emperor is facing, and it's like an epidemic." See, he doesn't use the word epidemic, but I think in my translation I may use the word epidemic. So what's interesting is that even with En no Gyoja, this play was finally written in 1916, before the Spanish flu, which killed 60 million people around the world. Right?
Well, this is
60 million people. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned about the plague, last time,
Yes.
Kind of a similar issue, like, I mean, human beings are tried by virus year by year. But there are another irony, which means like human beings are bothering this nature and earth for a long time.
Yes.
So now human beings are tried by virus, or maybe this earth is trying us. Hey, go back to the normal situation.
That's one way to look at it. And I think that's a very healthy way, because it forces you to think about what you're doing. What are you doing to combat this thing? What are you doing to make it a better world?
Right.
That's very important. And listen, since you mentioned the plague, the author Daniel Defoe. Daniel Defoe wrote the most famous novel he wrote was called Robinson Crusoe.
Sure.
Do you know this one, right?
It's a quite famous.
He also wrote a book called A Journal of the Plague Year. A Journal of the Plague Year. And almost anybody who studies epidemics and plagues says this is the best single book they've ever read about plagues.
I see.
So I would recommend people read that book, because they can compare that to now. Right now, we have a very bad situation. But you read the Journal of the Plague Year and you see, wow, our situation is really small compared to that one.
Yeah, right. Because in the older days, right? Quarantine, that word came from the 14 days from the Venetia, right?
That's correct.
Right? Because of the
That's correct.
And so it's exactly like a year by year, human beings are tried by the nature.
Yeah.
But this is a really difficult matter for people to consider about how to integrate each other, but
it is.
In this shadow of the epidemics, I believe that there are many issues happening maybe still in Africa or Middle East, or because news cover only Corona right now.
Yeah, that's right.
So and I don't know what is going on in the world right now.
Yeah, we get a little bit of news on other things, but not very much. And when we get any time for it on these news broadcasts, it's about American politics. For example, yesterday we learned that Hillary Clinton has endorsed Joe Biden to be president. So that was one small little political note that we got yesterday in the midst of all this coronavirus news.
But election will be only several months away. Maybe 6 months away.
Yeah,
and this is an important election for Americans, I believe.
That's right. That's in November, so 6 months away. But did you hear that yesterday? Was it yesterday or the day before? The official news from New York State is that they want to cancel the primary, which was supposed to be in April, but now they moved it to June, and now they've canceled it for June. But Governor Cuomo has said that the Board of Elections must send a physical ballot to every New Yorker who's eligible to vote, so that we can vote by mail.
Johnson, last question, okay?
Yeah.
Because in these pandemic situations, of course, many politicians, including Andrew Cuomo, including Donald Trump, everybody is saying, don't talk about the politics. We all need to face these problems. As the integration. So politics is, not things to talk about it, but actually election is almost over there.
Yeah,
which means
that's right.
It is impossible without talking about the politics to solve this issue. And then how ordinary cases people can balance between politics as well as facing this, crisis?
It's very difficult. I can see it because Mr. Trump has made the coronavirus a political issue. He's made it a political issue. So even if you talk about coronavirus and how to combat it, it becomes a political conversation.
Because Andrew Cuomo is doing a very good job. He's appeared on TV every day to reviewing situations.
Yeah.
But actually, he must have some kind of way to speak out. That's his political view against Republicans or Donald Trump.
Yeah.
But
but I tell you what, he has.
tough.
Yeah, he's Democrat. He's a Democrat, but he hasn't said anything specifically against Donald Trump. He's very shrewd, and it's really interesting to see the polls. Do you approve of how he's working and so on? Every governor in America, whether Republican or Democrat, their approval rating has gone up because of the way they're handling the coronavirus. Whereas at the same time, Trump's approval rating has gone down. So even Larry Hogan, I don't know if you know this name, Larry Hogan is the governor of the state of Maryland. And of course, Washington, D.C. is nestled right in there between Virginia and Maryland, right? So Larry Hogan is a Republican. And he is a very good governor. From afar, I never met him or anything, but he seems to be a very good governor. And one reason I think so is political, because he disagrees with everything Trump has said.
Oh, I saw that kind of a governor of Ohio, the similar way.
Yeah, it's Governor DeWine, Mike DeWine.
Right. I saw him.
He's also a Republican, and his estimation in Ohio is going way up because he's opposed to how Trump is doing things. And Larry Hogan, but in Maryland, my point there is another point. His wife is a Korean immigrant. And he was able to get face masks airlifted and some other PPE material from Korea, from South Korea to Maryland for his state. Some millions of dollars of face masks and other PPE. And of course, that may have been in part because of the connections with his wife. But it shows you that he could not trust Donald Trump to supply him with these materials. He had to go to Korea to get them. And many other states, even China has sent PPE to the United States.
I see.
Even Turkey has sent PPE to the United States.
That's interesting. So, which means like anybody who is seriously facing at coronavirus, that politician can get a good vote.
That's right.
So,
That's right. So I never thought of Mr. Cuomo as a presidential possibility, but he probably has enhanced his position so that it's conceivable that he might at some point in the future run for president. I don't know.
Not this time, but next time maybe.
No, definitely not this time, because already Biden is going to have the nomination this time.
True.
Yeah.
I see. Okay, Johnson, please stay healthy, all right?
Yeah.
And
you too.
I will be back to place a third interview.
Okay, yeah, I'm happy to talk to you about this anytime.
Yeah, and tell everybody in the world, in the Japanese, do you have any message again?
Yeah. I just say take very good care of yourself. Wear a face mask when you go outside and keep social distance.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
ニューヨークのジョン・ギレスビーさんへのインタビューです。はい、もう一回いきます。ちょっと待って。ニューヨークのジョン・ギレスピーさんへのインタビューです。2週間ほど前に最初のインタビューをして、その後ニューヨークがかなり厳しい状態が続きましたよね。毎日何百人もの方が亡くなって、それで全米の中でもニューヨークは特にひどい状態ですよね。そういう中でどういうふうに生活しているかというのが非常に生々しく語られてるんですけども、ニューヨークというのは基本的にどちらかというと民主党が主導の政治的なバックグラウンド、そういう支持者が多いんですけども、ジョンもそういう中の一人なんですけどね、今回のことで、アメリカの大統領がどう評価されているかという率直なね、気持ちが、かなり、出てたと思います。ニューヨークの多くの人たちが、大統領の、ちょっと不適切な発言について怒りを覚えている。その怒りが、意外とですね、大統領選挙にも影響を与えるんじゃないかと思われるような、うねりになっていることが、生々しく、語られてました。そういうことをね、ちょっと、聞きながら、現実の今のニューヨークの状況、 ね、クオモ知事という民主党のね、知事が、毎日、もうブリーフィングをしてね、必死になって、状況を報告して、なんとかこのコロナの厳しい状況を克服しようとしてるわけですよね。そういうことに対する、市民というか、一人の市民としての、目も、非常に興味があることでした。そういう、ちょっと政治的なことも多かったんですけど、アメリカの現状を知る上では大変役に立ったんじゃないかなと思います。じゃあ、ちょっと長いインタビューでしたけどもね、さらに、次の国を訪問してみたいと思います。